We do have breaking news today. 4 people are dead, including 2 children, after what appears to be a murder-suicide in La Junta. We just learned about this a little over an hour ago. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Helmuth. You just heard ABC News coverage of the remarks following that Pennsylvania press conference after what the FBI is now officially calling an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. Good evening. I'm Josh Helmuth alongside Heather Skold. Heather, the biggest things to take away from that press conference: number one, they believe there's one shooter. They believe they know who it is, but they're not ready to identify that shooter quite yet. Now in Boulder County, you have the left-hand canyon fire. That's under control. 450 acres. It appears to be out. That's great news. Also following closely in Boulder County, the Calwood fire, about 10,000 acres, only half contained. But of course, the biggest news right now was just north of Kremling. As of this morning, Ticketmaster, the cheapest tickets you can find, counting fees, $600 a pop. That's for the nosebleeds. You want to be down near the glass? We're talking $2,000 to $4,000 per ticket.
So, Congresswoman, you do acknowledge that the temperature does need to be taken down a notch. How will you do that? And what would be, of all the issues you just listed, what will be your number one, the first issue you'll tackle first?
Gold definitely helped put Colorado Springs and Colorado in general on the map. But soon later, there was one woman in particular who really won over hearts here in Colorado. Her name, Catherine Lee Bates. Now, if you're lucky or clever enough to find one of these wish lamps, you'll see a QR code on the box like this one.
You scan that with your phone, where you'll get a link showing a big congratulations, but most importantly, the entire time you're on security camera.
And you have to shoot yourself on your cell phone, proving that you're actually the one who discovered it.
These are hard to find. I went to Lowe's earlier this morning to try to find some for my wife and my kids, and they were sold out. Went to another hardware store, they were sold out. The library district now, they are out as well. And you need these if you want to safely view the eclipse. Otherwise, you'll do permanent damage to your retina. You don't want that to happen. But I want to introduce you to a new friend I made over the past few minutes. His name is Stan. I'm calling him Stan the Man.
Oh,
Stan.
Hey, how you doing?
Stan, you are 81 years young.
There's an emptiness that follows immense tragedy. Shadows cast over once bright lights. Echoes of voices now lost. Some read words from a silent symphony, too deafening
I don't know if I could get through this.
to bear.
There was a beautiful boy at the end of the trail. There was a beautiful boy with his arms out, facing the wind out of the valley and the clay rock. He's wishing the world would notice him. He's wishing the world would know him. I'm wishing for more clouds so he can point to the sky and tell me which objects he thinks they look like.
Born a girl, Delaney Davis Aston grew up to be Daniel Aston, and he always had a way with words.
That was the part of his sweetness, you know.
It took years, but Sabrina and Jeff Aston dropped a few lines of their own, convincing their son to leave Tulsa, their original hometown, for the more open pastures of Colorado Springs. Daniel did not miss a beat.
He had more friends. He had almost as many friends as in Tulsa within 2.5 years. Just crazy.
Especially at a place called Club Q.
He loved it because he could, do the drag king thing and, and wear different jackets. He liked the 80s hair bands, so he'd put these, wigs on and wear big shoulders.
Shoulders built to lean on.
He was really had hit his stride those last couple of years.
And a lean ready to shoulder a tremendous burden.
I remember distinctly the last 2 times I saw him before he got killed. I told him, and I don't know why I told him this, but I just said, I'm proud of you, and I was.
Club Q, active shooter, all units respond. Reports of 10 people shot. Let's make this a mass casualty.
Breaking news right now in Colorado Springs. Police say at least 5 people are dead, 18 others injured after a mass shooting at a nightclub.
Got initial phone call at about 11:57 in the evening that there was an active shooting at a local club known as Club Q.
Sabrina and Jeff rushed to the hospital and then waited.
So we sat there, and then finally they said, why don't you just go home and then we'll, when we find, we find something, we'll call you immediately, and instead they knocked on the door. It was like, the soldier's wife. You knew what was going to happen, and I'm just like, I'm not opening this door because I know it's going to be bad news, and it was.
Daniel was just 28 years old, very likely the first life taken the night of November 19th, 2022.
Daniel wasn't supposed to be up there. I think Daniel was honestly off shift.
Daniel was at the front door of Club Q that night with his friend, Ashton Gamblin.
Without Daniel right there, what would have happened to you that night?
I would have been at that door by myself, and I would have been the sole target. Doctors asked what was in front of me.
They knew someone was in front of you.
They knew there was no reason that bullet should have stopped. And I just looked at them and I said, Daniel.
It was Daniel who made that split-second, life-changing decision to step between his friend and the gunman. Ashton took 9 bullets, of which Daniel could not stop.
5 to my left arm, 2 to my right, and 2 to my breast. It's the one that stayed in my breast that would have been my downfall.
How often do you think about Daniel and what he did that night?
It's a daily reminder. But Daniel was an absolute lifeline in that bar.
A life who refused to live between the lines at Club Q.
Always just one of the most encouraging people.
And for countless others.
And he helped me too with my transition.
He was just always there for me if I needed to vent or needed any advice.
And he is a huge part of my coming out journey. And I wish that he was still here.
He was a positive influence in the world, and he had a lot more to give the world.
Mm-hmm.
That was taken away from him.
Yeah.
Daniel lived a life in words that illuminated even the darkest of nights.
Last Thursday, I was a king without a queen.
A transgender man who transcended boundaries. Someone who took chapters of struggle.
Last Thursday was never real.
And turned them.
And neither am I.
Into verses of strength.
I am only a king on Thursdays.
Josh Helmuth, KRDO 13, Colorado Springs.